There you go, a bit of Creedence Clearwater Revival and Proud Mary, 10 to 10 here on BBC Radio Bristol. Coming up, we're going to be doing Happy Hour. We're going to have Mel Bound and Pete Aitken telling us about the little things in their life that give them joy and meaning and purpose. Before then, I've been talking to Dr Kishan Rees about the morale amongst junior doctors, about the importance of the little things, getting to know your doctors as people, understanding them and giving them those little bits of support. But we're going to talk a little bit about the NHS as a whole now, because you, in a celebration, I guess, of 70 years of the National Health Service in 2018, you're making a film. You're going around interviewing people who have experienced the NHS, both worked in it and used it. Absolutely, yeah. Mapping the history of it. So what have you discovered so far? How's it changed the way that you think about the NHS, having thought about...
It has, actually, in all honesty. So Jack and I went to primary school and secondary school with him. I was shocked.
Is Jack the person who's filming you now?
Jack's, yeah. I asked him if he wanted to come on, but he wouldn't come on. But so Jack and I I was surprised how Jack had no understanding about what was going on with the NHS. Okay. The only reason that he knew was because I'm a doctor and I was involved in the junior doctor contract dispute and things. And I looked at his skills as a filmmaker and I looked at my kind of semi-presenter skills, which I'm trying to develop. And I thought, well, why don't we set up a kind of broadcaster where we can give the information to the public? And that's had two purposes, really. One, it's been supporting doctors as much as we can. But then also for members of the public, it's about looking at the NHS and starting to ask some questions in terms of, is it still fit for purpose? Is it broken? Does it need fixing? If it does need fixing, how can we fix it? So we've travelled all over the country and we've done lots and lots of interviews and we're hoping to get it out fairly soon. And we're going to talk to you about it afterwards, in fact.
Well, and when people say, the NHS is almost like a religion, it's quite hard to criticise. Yeah. Do you think it's possible, as I've always supported the NHS, but I've also not been afraid to criticise it when it goes wrong? Because an organisation as large as the NHS, facing the funding and staffing crisis, is going to muck up occasionally. And traditionally in the NHS, we tend to hide things when things go wrong. Important. And unless we're honest and open about the problems we're facing, which is in essence what junior doctors have done. They've been like 54,000 whistleblowers. Yeah. The public have to realise if they're only going to put that much money in, this is the service they're going to get. If they want a better service, we're going to have to pay more money, either through taxes or national insurance or top-up fees, and we need to have that debate publicly. So you're hoping your film would lead to some sort of public debate?
Absolutely, and I mean, it's interesting that you mentioned whistleblowers, because there's a solitary voice at the moment in terms of whistleblowing, and that's Dr Chris Day, and we've been really keen to support him and get his story out, because when it comes to patient safety, it's absolutely critical that these discussions are held in public. And just chatting to you and getting to know you about some of the things that you used to say about your comedy tours where, you were accused of airing dirty laundry in public about the medical profession. I'm sort of all for it in the sense that the public pay our wages. They're kind of our employers in the broader sense, and we've got to deliver a decent service to them.
The argument always used to be, you're frightening the horses. So if junior doctors really told the truth about how unstaffed their rotas were, how much they're winging it and having to fly by the seat of their pants, the public would be so frightened they wouldn't use the NHS. But you're using the counter-argument is that people just have to be a bit grown up about the fact
absolutely
that we are flying by the seat of our pants.
Yeah.
There are big gaps in rotas and things, and we're struggling to follow it, and that may occasionally lead to unsafe care, and you think people need to know about that?
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm willing to put my face to it, and I say to people that my head is so far above the parapet, it's kind of my torso, so you're all in, so you might as well just go for it, and get enough public on board. The medical professionals are great in terms of we learn another language, but also I think sometimes we can hide behind that, or sometimes we can not necessarily hide behind it, but also confuse patients and not necessarily articulate in a way that they are able to relate to. And I'm more than happy to do that because I think it's essential for the NHS moving forward.
Do you think people still believe in the values of the NHS? So if you go back to Nye Bevan's original values, there's no greater mark of a humane society to pool all its money in the middle and treat people according to need. Do you think people are prepared to put their money in the centre? In essence, what you're saying with the NHS is when you get sick, you can have some of my money.
I'm starting to question it.
And are people saying, no, if you're obese, if you're not looking after yourself, if you're low, I'm not prepared to pay for you?
We've just got to look at the kind of reactionary and kind of really nasty headlines in terms of showing a passport before you give birth, and the Department of Health are going to, I know they haven't got anyone to represent themselves, but they put out a press release saying they're going to claw back 500 million per year by 17-18. If you look at 500 million, yes, it sounds like a lot of money, and it is a lot of money, but in the grand scheme of things of NHS budgets, it's not, and it's monopoly money, and people are impressed with these terms that politicians come out with. And I just think it's a drop in the ocean, and we've got to look at. There's more fundamental issues that we should be looking at, and this is a distractor.
But the fundamental issue is the NHS was founded on compassion. It was founded on the idea of caring for people most in need, but also compassion for the staff. Unless you look after the staff, you're not going to look after the patients.
Yeah.
And the kind of debates we're having at the moment, they're quite hard. It's about winning the argument. It's about Jeremy Hunt beating junior doctors. It's not about making the service kinder or more compassionate, which actually what it needs, isn't it? If you're going to look, you said that 100%. What makes a difference to junior doctors? The little things. Yeah. Having someone make you a cup of coffee, giving you a hug, saying, you'll be okay, I'll look after you. Can I hold your bleep for a while? Yeah. Those things are the things that matter, and we're losing that.
And that's what we need, and we are losing that. And it was between Jeremy Hunt and doctors, but I always think he's been a bit of a fall guy. And, I always tell people that if he was to resign or get fired, we shouldn't celebrate that. And I think it comes down to political ideology. And in a post-Brexit Britain, I don't know whether people are caring enough and they want it. And I think people need to wake up, because lots of doctors are fighting. Lots of doctors are putting the information out there. Some of my friends say that I'm going on a crusade, which I don't mean to be. I'm not. I mean, I'm all over Facebook, but it's not meant to be like a crusade. It's just meant to put the information there for people to make the decision.
Okay, so if patients are listening to this, and you want to give some advice about how to look after the NHS as well as their own health, what would you say to them?
There's little things in terms of don't abuse it, and you've got to, we take it for granted. And I've heard stories in Leicester where people take an ambulance, they fake a heart attack or they fake an asthma attack just to get into the town centre from an ambulance, and then they go into town. They don't even check into A&E. People like that should be being charged, because that's just absolutely ridiculous.
That's a small minority of people. What about just,
Well, equally coughs and colds in A&E. Broken toenails. I work in A&E, and you can't really criticise people because they have nowhere else to turn. The GP service is so stretched that they have to wait weeks for an appointment. And I think sometimes not knowing is the worst thing. So if you don't know that your flight is going to be delayed by how long, you get quite upset by it. And these people, they don't know what's going on about their health. They think the worst. They think that they've got cancer, and then they go to A&E, which is not entirely their fault. And if you look at some of the messaging that's coming out, I think it's going the wrong way in terms of, I have stories of elderly men, women coming in, saying, I didn't want to come in because I didn't want to cause you any bother. And they come down 3-4 days after they're ill. There's massive challenges ahead.
And also, it's interesting, every guest I interview on this programme, they ask me how I am. When I work as a doctor, it's very rarely a patient says to the doctor, how are you doing, doctor? We don't take in presents anymore. I've had one present in 2 years. A little boy brought me in some peanuts, and I was feeling quite hungry, so I ate them, and he started laughing. And I said, why are you laughing? He said, those peanuts, they used to have chocolate on them. He sucked off all the chocolates, give me the peanuts. They tasted nice. Give your doctor a hug.
Or
buy him a little bag of peanuts.
Half-licked peanut.
Take him a cup of coffee. We're all human. We all like the little things. Thank you, Dr. Kishan Rees. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thanks very much.
Coming up, it's Happy Hour. To take us to the news, here's Make Me Smile, Steve Harley and Cockney Rebel.
I like this song. I think
It's a great song, isn't it?